That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Turn it up.
Shalom. Giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. Another episode going into news and prophecy where we link the things that are happening worldwide to the Holy Scriptures so that the elect could make sense of this psyop that's being presented to them, and so that they can know what to look for, know what to watch for, and ultimately keep the faith as we live in these very dark times and have light to hold unto, because we're in the land of darkness. All right, but the Heavenly Father has given us light in the form of the Holy Spirit to guide us, all right, to everlasting life. And we can clearly see that the world is going mad with this current election. Here specifically in Babylon the Great, things are turned up. You have a lot of division, all right, where you have, the women against the men, which the gender war is a tool of Satan, right? But it's also prophecy, okay? And it's a part of the curse. But ultimately, we've seen this whole psyop of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris lead to division, lead to confusion. And ultimately, we know both parties are of Satan, and they are set up to lead you, all right, to tyranny, lead you to the NWO, which they have planned. Okay? And both Kamala and Trump, okay, and the other candidates, all right, are not here to bring forth any form of freedom or good to you people. They're merely here to give you a show and to be set up to psychologically F you into wandering after the beast. And I was kind of taken back by how absolutely crazy and mad our people are behind this election, where you have women threatening, all right, and praying that men, in particular you have so-called black women, but a lot of women, all right, basically so-called black women are basically saying to hell with the black man. He didn't come through for us, after years of saying they don't need us, after years of saying we're dusties, after years of saying we ain't got our shit together, the white man got it together, the Asian man. They have all of these movements amongst Eve where they're just saying to hell with the black man. But then comes time for Kamala to be put in office, and because she looks like a so-called black woman, and she's not, it's been proven that she's most likely an Amalekite, which all of these people are, connected and belong to certain families that are in high positions that run this world, and they're presented unto you as angels of light. That's one of the many tricks of Satan, is his ability to present himself as an angel of light. Even with the leaders they give you, they present themselves, these preachers, these pastors, these governors, these senators, these teachers, these whatever, they present themselves as angels of light. But ultimately, they're out to undermine you and lead you to a path of destruction. And our people are completely wandering after the image of the beast. All right, here it is. Let's get the book of 2 Thessalonians. Right? And we see, all right, the Lord is allowing us to see our people in this world go absolutely mad and crash out. which is a saying in a world where someone's just completely through. Okay. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2:8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, which is the prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God gave them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. So as you're looking at our people cry and scream, these women absolutely crash out here in these latter days behind Kamala Harris, or you have our people crashing out behind Trump, just know that they are set up to believe a lie, and there's a strong delusion on them as they are wandering after the beast. Let's get the book of Revelation, right? The 13th chapter. All right, after this devil has done all of this, he's conquered everybody. He's lied on the Lord. He's blasphemed the name, the tabernacle, blasphemed the angels, overcame the saints, overcame the heathen. Okay, Revelation 13:8. And all that dwell on the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So many people of this world and many of our people ultimately, all right, are wandering and worshiping the beast. Okay, they're wandering after the beast, as it says. Let's see here. Yep, they worship the dragon, the ancient Roman Empire, which gave power unto the beast. All right, Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. All right, the Western Roman Empire, and his deadly wound was healed, going back to the Renaissance, and the world wondered after the beast. Now let's look up this word wondered, because this is what we're seeing and witnessing, and it's crazy to behold it, to see it is absolutely, we knew our people were gone. We knew these people were crazy, but the level of craziness, the Lord showed us something with this whole Kamala Trump situation. These people are absolutely crazy. They're under a psychosis. The word is thaumazo, to wonder, to marvel at, to be in admiration. And we see our people in admiration with this beast system. All right. And both sides, all right, are ultimately completely off. Proverbs 25:19. Confidence in an unfaithful man in a time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. So you have one side that thought Kamala was the answer, and then you have the other side who's of the opinion that Trump is the answer, and they're boasting in it as if some type of victory is coming to them. But we're going to show you something about Donald Trump, who presents himself as this, pawn of righteousness, as the man who's going to take away, baby deletions, which he's not going to take away baby deletions. He's just going to put it in the hand of certain states. But he's been presented as a man who's going to ban, all right, the abort. No, he's not going to ban abortions. And you women basically screaming about women's right to choose, well, where was the right to your body, your choice when that jab came out? Huh? It's only your body, your choice when it comes to you and what you want to do. All right. But pretty much all you women do all day is get on the internet and tell people what they can and can't do with their bodies. But now you're talking about choosing a president based upon your ability to have an abortion. And some of you are 60, 50 years old. You ain't got no more eggs. So what are you all up in on? I want women's rights. Women should have ability to do this. Women. That's what. Look at all of these situations going on in the world. The poor education, the poor food, the poor air quality, the elderly, the children, the missing children, the pedo rings that are just being found out day in and day out. And with all of those situations, the ecosystem's all messed up. Animals going extinct. GMOs. All of these sicknesses. The reason you're going to choose a leader is centered around your right to delete your child. And you're bringing up situations where women are raped. Well, I'll say about 3% of abortions are performed on women who were raped. That's not the underlying idea. The majority of the women going and getting those are women who live promiscuous lifestyles and who end up preggo and don't want to deal with the responsibility. I've seen it all my life. Okay? And that whole thing is a farce. And Donald Trump ain't going to end it. See? But I have this tweet. All right? I have this tweet that the elder Required Quam did a video on. GMS Fear the Most High 7 God, I believe. Subscribe. And he sent it to me. And this is just someone on Twitter. You know, we don't even really need to see her. But she says something that's very interesting. It says the Trump Psyop, all right, that I felt could be used in this video. The Trump Psyop is a multi-layered and undeniably genius. Psyop. Now, what is a Psyop? Psyop is an acronym for a psychological operation, which is a military operation that aims to influence the emotions and behaviors of individuals. And clearly it worked. Just when you thought, okay, these people woke up to Esau, everybody's getting, these people are absolutely under psychosis. They're the psyop, which it goes beyond Kamala and Trump. It has worked. These people are on the internet by the thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, commenting and arguing back and forth, using these talking points from these, mainstream media platforms. These people are gone, man. Wow. Especially you women. You take the mindset of some of these women and you believe something like that should be able to rule and have free dominion to just go about leading and ruling. No. Order needs to be set back up in the planet Earth, man. Okay? A military operation, and that's what's being ran on you people. A psyop, psychological operation. And see, when people think about Esau's sword, he was blessed with the sword. A lot of you only focus on his ability to shoot, bomb, stab. But the mind aspect, all right, let's get the book. The mental aspect of what he does is even more dangerous in a sense. Psalms 140. Okay. And 1. Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their minds, their hearts. Your heart in the Hebrew is lab, which means mind. Continually are they gathered together for war. That's what they're doing, man. All right? They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. All right? Now this word poison, adder's poison. Okay, this word poison, all right, is Chama. Okay, hold up. That's not the one. Displeasure, that's not the one. Sharpen, that's the word I'm looking for. All right, Shanan. All right. Sharpen, wet, sharpen, teach, to be pierced. You see, they pierce you in your mind, but they want to pierce that charabma as well. But it says to teach diligently. See? They diligently made sure, all right, because we think the 80s was, all good, but the 80s was a psyop when you deal with the commercials and the programming leading us unto this very day. The cartoons, everything has been a complete psyop here in America, a psychological operation. all right, to pretty much sway you from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, sway you from reality, and to ultimately accept of this new world that they're going to bring. Okay, inculate. Let's look up the word inculate. The word inculate is to instill by persistent instruction, to teach. And what have you been taught in? You've been ultimately trained up, all right, to bow the knee to the image of Baal, man. And that's what the people are doing. So going back to this post, it says the Trump Psyop is so multi-layered and undeniably genius because they presented it in a way that was really, 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 really good. Okay, but anyone who's got the spirit on them, like you even would see through that. It says the establishment has successfully conditioned both parties to focus on Trump for all the wrong reasons. He's not Hitler like Democrats think, and he's not a savior like Republicans think. He is very convincing, all right? He's very convincing, okay? Like a lot of people, when they think of Trump, they think he's against the alphabet agenda. Like he'll throw something out there like, well, they're teaching LGBT history in school. You know, I'm going to stop that. And there's this notion that he's against the LGBT. He's against. But don't you know Donald Trump? All right, as he became president, he acknowledged gay marriage. Don't you know Donald Trump, all right, used his policy and his strong arm to America to go to different countries, all right, where it's illegal to be a sodomite. And he forced different countries to loosen up their penalties on the act of sodomite behavior. Don't you know he had the first openly, I believe, trans or something, a cabinet member dealing with the alphabet? So he's not against the alphabet agenda, but he's presented as this person who's against the alphabet agenda. And so many more things. As now he has Elon Musk, okay, and RFK, forget his name, Bobby Kennedy, I believe, who was a presidential candidate. Nobody heard about him. Here it is. There's other candidates, right? And you don't even hear nothing about them. They just force these two down your throat. Going into the prophecy that they would have two horns like a lamb and speak as a dragon. They're getting ready to speak as a dragon. Because as he's convinced you he's the savior and he's going to make America great again and this and this and that, we're going to show you a few things about this devil here, man. Okay? Even when it comes to surveillance, he was heavy and pushing laws to surveil you U.S. citizens, but at the same time, he's boasting in your freedom of the constitutional rights. This man's the complete devil. And the scriptures tells you confidence in an unfaithful man, okay, is like trying to trust in the tooth that need a root canal or a foot that's out of joint. It's going to eventually harm you. He's very convincing, consuming, and charismatic actor. He's very funny. I'll give him that. Okay? I'm a good judge of, that's when it comes to someone who's funny naturally. He's the devil, but the guy is hilarious. Okay? When he pulled up in that garbage truck. Okay?
All right, guys. All right, guys. Full camera.
Right here. Keep commenting. Nice.
I mean, the dude is funny. At McDonald's, the way he talks, he's a funny devil, right? But he's the devil. And these things were done on purpose. Kamala was as idiotic as she was, and the left, twerking and doing all the stupid shit they would do. It was all done on purpose, man. Again, this was a psychological operation that many people fell under the influence of. And you see it, you like, whoa. It says he's very convincing, consuming, and charismatic out. He is a very convincing, consuming, and charismatic actor who will absolutely be selected this election so he can continue to distract supporters of both parties. Okay, because who all wins in the end is Amalek. Okay, the people who fund these both parties and all right, are these lobbyists. All right, they're all geared towards Amalek. It's all Amalek. The will of Amalek is going to be done. All right, and both Trump and Harris, all right, and Biden are supporters of Amalek. Okay, again, this guy presents himself as he's against the globalist agenda, but he's for Amalek. Okay. Again, they hide a lot of wickedness under their tongue. They speak with a forked tongue. Okay? He's against the globalist agenda, but at the same time, he supports Amalek. Trump even boasted in making Jerusalem a capital, meaning ultimately they were establishing the kingdom of heaven on earth. Disrespectful that is. So he is a very convincing, consuming, and charismatic actor who will absolutely be selected this election so he can continue to distract supporters of both parties. Okay? Meanwhile, the technocrats, you see that? Have not we been telling you about a technocracy? That's who's really going to rule the world to come. That's the plan. Why do you think he got Elon Musk by his side? Which we're going to show you a video of this guy being questioned about Elon Musk and how he just talks around it. He's the devil. Watch, we're going to show you. Meanwhile, the technocrats and global cabal who fund them, yeah, because that's ultimately who ultimately has the vote, is the lobbyist at the end of the day, and the electoral college. Here it is, you so-called black women. All right, and you women, period, are sitting up here blaming men, okay, for the reason why Kamala didn't get in office. But you ain't got nothing to say about these lobbyists. Why does a lobbyist have the ability to get into politics and buy influence? That shows you they're the devil, man. And they're all geared towards the state of Israel, man. And when it's all said and done, you people are going to see the devil, okay? Because again, the technocrats and the NWO was still being set up. Meanwhile, they're pushing all of this talk of freedom, right? Your rights are getting ready to be taken away. Okay, freedom of speech. All that's getting ready to be taken away. Just watch. Okay, don't be surprised if there is an attempt, all right, on his being, right? Like there's been, people trying to take him out. Hey, don't be surprised somebody does, and that pops something off. This thing can go any way at any moment, man. But we, the servants, the prophets, are just watching, all right, and trusting in what Yahweh Bashim Yahushua said. All right. So he's coming with this charismatic act. Meanwhile, the technocrats and global cabal who fund them will move forward with implementing all of the policies we've been successfully distracted from. Yeah. See? They will end the Fed and replace it with the CBDC. Okay? Remember, Trump was supposed to be against, digital money. Well, he's for it all of a sudden. And he wants to make sure the best of the best get the best of the, They will control borders with biometric surveillance. That's going to be the answer, right, to all of these migrants being brought over here. Okay? They got all these migrants over here in the threat. So now we're going to surveil the border digitally. And then that will then spread to your everyday life. AI is getting ready to police you. You have multiple police, all right, quitting their jobs. You have this talk of, defunding the police. Well, what is that going to be replaced with? Artificial intelligence. This is the world they envision for you. See? And they're going to program artificial intelligence to hate righteousness, to hate you, to come after your ass. Even you everyday Americans who think you have some form of freedom through your Constitution. All of that is getting ready to be done away with. Okay? They will control borders with biometric surveillance. They will implement voter ID that will become your digital ID. See that? Because there's so many migrants over here. Okay, and what is Trump planning to do with you migrants? Let's get this article here real quick. See if we can pull it up. And as the scriptures say, Sirach 12:10, never trust your enemy. For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed of him and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand. And that's what you're doing when you're casting these votes. You're making a vow. You're saying basically, I'm with whatever this guy's with. Lest he seek to take thy seat, and at the last thou remember my words and be pricked therewith. And you're going to remember the words of the prophets when you're pricked. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or such as come nigh to wild beasts? And Esau is a wild, savage beast. Now, let's get this right here, where Trump has a plan for mass deportations, right? And when you go into it, Trump's deportation, all right, push is expected to utilize military, diplomats, and other government workers to get you illegal migrants and immigrants out of the United States. Immigrant advocates warn of costly, divisive, and inhumane consequences. Draconian measures, man. And that's going to be on you northern tribes, but you know it's going to go through all of you tribes. All of you are going to be to blame when it's all said and done. Just like now, you so-called black men are to blame. Okay, black women probably finna start running over niggas with cars. Growling. You there on the internet literally screaming, crying, growling, blaming the so-called black man, saying they hate men because Kamala didn't get in. And the so-called black man hasn't oppressed you. We don't have the power to oppress you here in America. This whole talk of a patriarchy where you're just being oppressed by men. Men, especially the so-called black men, don't have no power in the system of so-called white supremacy. Come on now. What has the so-called black man done but maybe so-called cheated on you? Or you picked the wrong one and he ended up being a scumbag. Black man ain't had no power to oppress you. Yeah, there's so-called black men who are men, period. There's a lot of losers and complete monsters. But this notion that the so-called black man has oppressed the so-called black woman here in America and it's all our fault is just crazy. Anyway, Trump's plan to use the 1798 Alien Enemies Act could draw legal challenges. And while they're presenting it as, we got to get these migrants out of here, what is the true, all right, what's the truth behind that 1798 Alien Enemies Act? Okay. The Federalists also passed the Sedition Act, which limited free speech by making it illegal to publish false, scandalous, and malicious writing against the governments or its officials, was used to silence Democrat and Republican critics, including newspaper editors and politicians, because they're getting ready to come with the plan and you ain't going to have no right to say anything about it. This law made it illegal for American citizens to publish, speak, or write anything that was false, malicious, or scandalous about the government. The law was directed at Democratic Republicans, a party that was often supported by new citizens And again, Trump his whole thing is based upon calling out conspiracies, right? Calling out, the deep state, calling out the pedo rings. Now all of a sudden he's being asked about these things, and he's silent about it. He don't really want to talk about it.
At the crux of the theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind? Or
well, I haven't heard that, but is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing? I mean,
why doesn't he just call it out? Wasn't he going hard? Because what is QAnon? Okay? It's basically a theory that America is run by a cabal of pedos and Satan worshippers who run a global child sex traffic operation. But now that he's president, and they're like, okay, well, are you or getting ready to be elected or elected? Now they're asking about it. Let's see his answer.
At the crux of the theory is this belief that you are secretly saving the world from this satanic cult of pedophiles and cannibals. Does that sound like something you are behind? Or
well, I haven't heard that, but
you haven't heard that? Oh, really? So none of us openly saw this man over the years talking about he's gonna get rid of these pedo rings and this and that. But now he's there, and this is his great time to call him out. And look how he plays it.
Is that supposed to be a bad thing or a good thing? I mean, if I can help save the world from problems, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself out there. And we are, actually. We're saving the world from a radical left philosophy that will destroy this country. And when this country is gone, the rest of the world would follow. The rest of the world would follow. That's the importance of this country.
It's well known that
See that? He danced around it. And this is how they work. They talk all of this tough talk, all right, and then they get into the office and nothing but the bidding of the elite is done. Nothing changes. You may have a few instances pop up to where you really, like even the Epstein thing, the threat of the list to be released. Why wouldn't it be released in the first place? Why is there all of these different names tied to these cases and different nasty things that it never really comes out, or it's this big secret? In a righteous kingdom, these people will be outed, executed, judged, but nothing changes. They're not going to fix anything. He is only going to bring about, all right, situations where the people continue to lose, and that's who's losing, especially the middle class. You've been absolutely decimated from 2020, all right, which again, another thing, Trump, he's so-called against the juice. But remember Operation Warp Speed, which we'll tap into that in just a minute. But the Sedition Act of 1798 made it illegal for American citizens to publish, speak, or write anything that was false, malicious, or scandalous about the government. The law was directed at Democratic Republicans, all right, a party that was often supported by new citizens. The Sedition Act was one of a series of laws known as the Alien Sedition Act. The laws were repealed or expired after the Federalists lost in the 1800 election. The controversy surrounding the laws tested the limits of freedom of speech and press. And Donald Trump is threatening to bring this back into fruition.
I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. That's how far back. That's when they had law and order. They had some tough ones. Think of it, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. You hear that, Mr. Speaker?
Revelation 13 and 11, I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, which is the revival of Rome, America, the end of all heathen rule. All right? And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. The two horns like a lamb All right. Again, he's presenting himself as a savior. That's what this word horn means. In the Democratic and Republican systems, which in Rome it was the plebeians and the patricians, all right, has set itself up as a mighty and valiant helper, the author of deliverance of the Messiah. Now, when you look at what Trump is really doing, all of a sudden he's added Elon Musk, all right, to his presidency, which we'll tap into that. But again, Donald Trump, okay, is getting ready to bring all out tyranny. Mass deportations is one of the first things he's talking about doing. And he's talking about putting billions of dollars into a plan using the military, okay, as a means to deport you people and get you the hell up out of here. Even some of you who became citizens, you still got to go when you tap into this. All right, now going back here, okay, finishing this tweet. It says they will implement a voter ID that will become your digital ID. They will present the Everything app that will manage your social credit score. This won't happen overnight, but it will happen unless we stop the madness now. No, it's not going to be stopped. We are consumed by a scripted reality TV show. It might be entertaining, but continuing to be distracted by it will only solidify our digital prison. Make no mistake, the technocratic Pied Piper is Trump, and Americans of all political leanings are following his tune down the river. And again, he's implemented Elon Musk, okay, into his presidency. And we know what Elon's about. So let's watch Tucker Carlson question this devil. All right, fair use. And this is not medical information. We're just in the news. But watch Tucker Carlson try to question Trump, okay, about the role, because that's a good question. Tucker Carlson asks Trump what roles RFK, who's, anti-juice, he's anti-VAX, okay, he's anti-GMOs. He talks about the things that are in the food. Again, these devils talk a good game, but when it comes time to implement these things and pass, all right, the legislation that lines up with what the shit they've been talking about, they don't got nothing to say. So Tucker Carlson is asking this devil, what roles RFK, which is Bobby Kennedy, or RFK Jr., I believe, and Elon Musk might play if he wins. So what's going to be the role of Elon Musk? Now, we see Elon Musk presenting these little, brain chips. He's presenting the robots that are going to be, your bartenders and your slaves, your personal servants. He's presenting all kind of things. He's presenting AI. He's talking about ultimately, the same thing that was in that movie. I forget the name of the movie. Here we go. Yeah, I, Robot, We got everything that we saw in that movie, we see Elon Musk bringing it about, showing you that we're living in a complete psyop. Anyway, he has this guy, Elon Musk, link with him. So what do you think that means in the grand scheme of things? Well, what Elon's talking about doing, all of a sudden he links with Trump. You got this RFK, character, who just all of a sudden linked with Trump at the end. So Tucker Carlson is asking him, what role are they going to play in your presidency?
So you've expanded and changed the Republican Party, and one of the amazing things that I have learned is the Republican voters really care about issues I didn't realize they cared about, like clean air, clean soil, clean food.
Clean air, clean soil, clean food. This is what RFK and certain people who act as if they're Trump supporters, and that's what they go into. So Tucker is like, wow, yeah, you really are going to change some shit. Right? You really are going to change some stuff for us. You got people around you that are talking about doing some real big things for the people. and really helping the earth.
So you've expanded and changed the Republican Party, and one of the amazing things that I have learned is the Republican voters really care about issues I didn't realize they cared about, like clean air, clean soil, clean food. You've won somehow the full-throated endorsement of Bobby Kennedy, lifelong Democrat, who's now like a full-time surrogate for you.
He's a very, very good man, too, by the way.
So what's that?
And we gonna get into him, because remember he was, he said the Ovid jab was the worst thing going. Now all of a sudden he's tap dancing. Right? He's totally did 180, I believe. I think that's and now all of a sudden is I'm not because let's not forget with this guy Kennedy, right?
This is the deadliest ever made.
That was a
All right, you heard him. All right, you can pause it and look at what he had up there, right? And again, this is not medical information. We're just in news, but he was basically saying this is the deadliest thing going. Anti-juice, right? You can just look at that, and I'm not putting. Basically, we're just in the news, right? We're just in the news. This is not medical information, but that's what he claimed. Now, let's check him out.
You have been a crusader on questioning vaccines. Are there specific vaccines that you would seek to take off the market?
No, I'm not gonna take away anybody's vaccines. I've never been anti-vaccine.
You will not take any vaccine that is currently on the market.
I'm not. If vaccines are working for somebody, I'm not going to take them away. People ought to have a choice, and that choice ought to be informed by the best information. So I'm going to make sure scientific safety studies and efficacies are out there, and people can make individual assessments about whether that product is going to be good for them.
Would that include COVID vaccines that are currently on the market?
I want the best science for every vaccine.
So you see that? Again, unfaithful men. Unfaithful men. Okay, and he's also against the mess they putting in the foods, right? But now your boy DT is being questioned about some of these people we have on his side and how they're going to be used.
So you've expanded and changed the Republican Party, and one of the amazing things that I have learned is the Republican voters really care about issues I didn't realize they cared about, like clean air, clean soil, clean food. You've won somehow the full-throated endorsement of Bobby Kennedy, lifelong Democrat, who's now like a full-time surrogate for you.
Showing you that's a Psyop. He's been a lifelong Dem. Now he just jumps to support Trump at the end. This is all a script, man.
He's a very, very good man, too, by the way.
So what's that going to look like after you get elected?
Well, I feel interesting about this kind of stuff. I like to, number one, get elected. I hate to talk to stuff.
See how he just jumped around the talking point? Tucker Carlson is basically like, yeah, because when you tap into this guy, K, Bobby Kennedy, basically he goes hardcore. You know how every election time you have a Bernie Sanders or a guy like him who basically speaks certain things. It's like, why wouldn't you elect this guy? But then they get 2 votes. Right? Maybe 3. And all the attention is put on the 2 candidates that they say you got to choose out of these 2. But guys like, them are never really given a true platform. It's all a part of the script, man. But let's see if he answers how these individuals are going to be used. And let's just watch the charismatic Donald Trump.
A lot of people, they set up, I know that even when I ran, Hillary had an office set up where they were interviewing all the. I don't want to do that. I want to get elected first, and then we'll cram a little bit. But I don't like doing it. No, I remember she set up this big office. They're interviewing people for jobs, and actually you're supposed to do it. But I want to win. I want to win in 5 days from now. It's almost 4 days from now, right? In 5 days from now, when we have a victory.
Did he answer the question? Just keep listening.
We're going to have the best people. Here's the one difference, one big difference between now and 2016. I know Washington and the people through testing, real testing, better than probably any human being that's ever hired people. So I went from not knowing anybody and having to rely on, in all fairness, Mike Pence and many other people. I had Mike Pence and I had others, and they would recommend people. Sloppy Chris Christie recommended some people. And I wouldn't have used him had I known. But you rely on people. And by the way, I hate talking about this because we had mostly great people. Think of it. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We rebuilt the entire U.S. military. We defeated ISIS, and we had no wars. We cut more regulation.
No wars, huh? Okay. There's a statistic, when Trump was in office, there was bombs dropping in certain parts of the world every 20 seconds. It was even worse when Obama was in. These are none but warmongers.
Than anybody in the history of the country times 5. And, but we had the best economy in the history of our country. I took in billions and billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs from China. I mean, we had an unbelievably successful administration. We were energy independent. We didn't need anybody's energy. We had so much oil, we didn't know what to do with it. And now take a look. 4 years ago.
And some of these things are true. Okay? But who benefited? Did the people benefit, or did you Edomites benefit and the elites of this world benefit? Yeah, you may have had a few little cheaper gas prices, but overall you didn't win. Okay? But look at how the tides have turned with the gas prices and things since the Biden administration. Anyway.
We were energy independent. Think of it. And today we're taking tar from Venezuela. They don't really have oil. They have tar. You have to heat the hell out of it. It costs you more to heat it than it does to sell it. But we are going to Venezuela. Think of it. Venezuela was like the enemy. We are now giving. I got a kick a month ago. You saw it.
So he asked him how is RFK going to be used. All right. Now he's going to try to ask him again. See, he puts the mic up. I mean, Trump just goes on this long ramble. Let's see. Is he?
Some incredible people in Washington. We really do. We have some great people, and I now know, I believe, for the most part, I know who those people are.
Do you think Bobby Kennedy and Elon Musk will be influential figures, without being specific about what those roles will be, in your administration?
Yeah, I do. I think so. Look, Bobby, let's talk two of them. Elon's so good. You know where he is right now?
Look how he just talks around the actual question, because really what he's asking is, look, man, I've heard some of, Bobby's talking points, especially when it comes to that juice and when it comes to that, the health and what's in the food. And, he walks, this walk as this health guru when you deal with RFK, Bobby Kennedy, right? When Elon talks, we see where he's going with it. So how are these two, all right, going to be implemented into your presidency? And he won't answer the question.
Pennsylvania campaigning for me, Elon. That rocket ship, right? No, it's so great. He docked that big.
What about the brain chip? To hell with the rocket ship.
Monster, 22 stories. I thought the sucker was going to be dead. It's a very crazy story. I mean, I saw it coming in on television. I was talking to I told the story tonight, but I thought it was a very, I'm talking to this very important guy, not as important as Tucker, but important. A big shot. Somebody everybody would know. Talking to him, I'm bored, stiff. He's a boring guy.
Oh, who is he?
So anyway, No, I'm talking to this very big shot, important guy,
So
and I have
he
the
never answers. Now you get to around 11 minutes after he's just going through the long rhetoric rant, and he starts to kind of get into it.
Elon thinks he can cut the costs of our government.
Let's go back here.
It's a great cost cutter, and Elon thinks he can cut the costs of our government by $2 trillion. That's the entire deficit, because it's now at a level. By the way, we have the biggest deficit we've ever had under this stupid group of people. But he thinks he can cut $2 trillion without affecting anybody, just through, and I think he can do that. I do. I believe that. And that's really what he wants to do. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to become a secretary of something. I'd love to have him, to be honest with you. But he doesn't want to. He's doing a couple of other things, like rocket ships. He sends, Tucker, he sends 92% of the rockets that go up are his rockets. Think of that. Russia, China, and us, 92% are him. And he's the only one. I asked him, I said, are you the only one that can do that? He's the only one that can land it like that. And he said it'll be years before they can do it. He's a great guy.
How does this help the people? And what's up with that brain hip? What's up with those robots? What's up with AI taking over the world? How's that going? Are you going to be a supporter of that? Of course he is. But he don't want to bring that up.
He wants to cut costs. That's what he wants to do. He wants to save the country. He said that if Trump doesn't get elected, the country is finished. Because, he understands me. And I understand. I got to know him a little bit in the White House, but much more so over the last few months. He endorsed me. He gave me an endorsement that was so beautiful. He said, if Trump doesn't win, I think this country is finished. He's worried about the country. He's worried about it. He thinks he can save $2 trillion, in which case we don't have a deficit. The whole thing would be $2 trillion a year, by the way, a year. And I will definitely. Now, Bobby is great. The only thing.
Now, why is it so bad in the first place? Why is there so much debt? Why aren't they addressing the international bankers?
We're going to unleash much of that. And we're going to, Germany tried to go all green and they almost destroyed their country. The only thing I say to Bobby is leave the liquid gold under our feet alone. We want to have a little gasoline. Because you know what I'm going to do? We're going to unleash much of that. And we're going to, Germany tried to go all green and they almost destroyed their country. And that was the end of Angela, by the way. That was it for Angela. They went all green. They had windmills all over the place. And the wind stopped blowing for a couple of weeks. And that was almost the end of Germany, actually. But the only thing, and I say it jokingly, but I say, Bobby, I love you looking at health. I want you to take care of the women of this country, the men of this country, and the children of this country. You don't have to worry about anybody else. But the one thing you got to do for me, Bobby, is leave what's under my feet, the oil and gas. You leave that to me, Bobby, because we're gonna make so much damn money, and it's clean. It's gonna make it clean. We're gonna make. Look, China doesn't have that. That's why China's going electric. If we go electric, we're playing right into their hands. We have oil and gas. They don't. They have things for making the batteries and other things. They're going to make the electric cars. We're not going to be making the electric cars. The problem with the electric cars, and I think they're great in a smaller application, they don't go far, they cost too much, and they're going to be made in China. 3 minor problems, okay? But if you listen to this government...
So this dude is, he just keeps going with the rhetoric, but he never really answers the question. And we know how Elon Musk is going to be used, and RFK is just a psyop to make the people believe that Trump really is going to get something done. Again, as the scriptures say, though wickedness be under his tongue. Let's get that. Come on, man. Job 20:12. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue. Right? Though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. So ultimately, this devil, again, there was another one I just saw in Psalms. Was that Psalms 10? Let's get it real quick. Give me 1 second. Every time I plan on going to bed early, look at the time. Call hello, Yahaba Shmir Shah, 11:44. His mouth, Psalms 10:7, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud under his tongue. All right, and the fraud under his tongue is mischief and vanity. There you go. Okay, because again, nothing will change. It's only going to get worse for you Americans. Okay, they're only going to bring about more and more draconian measures, man. Okay, and it's not going to work out in your favor. Okay, and remember, Trump was with Operation Warp Speed. Okay, let's look at that title. This is the same devil. Again, he talks a good game, but in the end, all right, he's with the worst of them. Okay, and he ain't gonna bring anything good for you niggas, man. You people. Okay, give me 1 second. This is the type of stuff you have to look forward to. All right, you see, he brought slightly up that green agenda. All right, the whole G warming. Okay, globe warming. Okay, climate lockdowns, all kind of restrictions are coming onto you people, man. And this is who ultimately, he's going to be doing the bidding of these people when it's all said and done. But, all right, more of the Psyop has to continue. WEF orders slaughter of pets owned by citizens with low social credit scores. And again, you're going to have a social credit score when it's all said and done. Okay? The WEF has urged world governments to begin euthanizing pets owned by citizens with low social credit scores, all under the guise of fighting sea change. Okay? And the official reason is to reduce so-called carbon paw print as cities move towards controlled 15-minute living zones where no pets will be allowed. And there's more to the story. According to a whistleblower inside the WF, this agenda goes far deeper than environmental goals. The real purpose is not about the climate at all. It's a calculated step into a conspiracy to strip humanity of anything that brings joy, companionship, or comfort. Yeah, this is what they're going to bring. Okay? Let's get one more video and then we'll close this out.
Channel, Donald Trump has been selected to retake power, or so that's what they're telling us right now, because a lot can still happen between now and Inauguration Day. And it's important to pay attention to how everybody out there is feeling, because a lot of people woke up today feeling relief. Because, of course, the majority of civilians in the United States of America, despite how they make it seem like there's a lot of Democrat communists, a lot of woke people, the majority of people don't know any of these people. The majority of people would likely select Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. But the narratives that are still floating around are important to pay attention to. And as you watch the alt-right media celebrate Alex Jones and his team toasting with champagne.
Now, remember, Alex Jones was exposing how, it was the left and the right were wicked. Now all of a sudden he's supporting the right. He's a right-winger. You got to watch these devils, man.
Ben Shapiro, well done, God. Russell Brand, God bless America. Make Jesus first again. You can feel that there's a lot of baiting going on, a lot of celebrating. It might be premature because some of the things going on out there, some of the narratives are about Kamala Harris not conceding the election. People are saying not to concede. Other people are now talking about Russian collusion and Russian interference. Now, putting Trump in power does make sense, of course, if we're looking at the Albert Pike World War III narrative. The World War III narrative, which plays out with Israel and Iran, would suck the United States of America right into the center of that. But I'm not convinced yet that we're actually getting a second Donald Trump term. And the reason being may surprise some people out there. But there's still the narrative of the potential assassination of Donald Trump. Because if the deep state really wanted Donald Trump dead, well, third time's a charm, right? As we all know, these secret societies operate in threes. Deaths come in three. And a third assassination attempt before the date of December 17th would throw the United States of America into utter chaos. Because just because Donald Trump won the popular vote and won the electoral vote does not mean that he's the president yet. And I'm not rooting for chaos to actually happen. I'm telling you to pay attention to it, because they didn't do all of this buildup to just have everybody take a deep exhale and say, okay, we're going to get our freedoms back. We're going to get free speech back. We're not going to lose the right to bear arms. But what happens if the president-elect dies before the inauguration? What if the president-elect actually dies before December 17th and the Electoral College meets? Now, if you're not familiar, the government website for the Electoral College actually has an article up that says what happens if a candidate dies or becomes incapacitated. And it says, quote, there is no federally required process to follow if a candidate who is projected to receive electoral votes dies or becomes incapacitated before the general election and the meeting of electors. However, individual states may have their own requirements that govern how electors must vote at the meeting of electors. In 1872, when Horace Greeley passed away between Election Day and the meeting of electors, the electors who were slated to vote for Greeley voted for various candidates, including Greeley. The votes cast for Greeley were not counted due to a House resolution passed regarding the matter. See the full Electoral College vote counts for president and vice president in the 1872 election.
So basically some type of loophole, some type of left-hand agenda to fight against him getting in office is coming. It ain't over yet. Okay, but you best believe either way it goes, tyranny is coming for you people. Okay?
As the Mouse King or the Rat King assassinated right in front of that picture of Abraham Lincoln. Now, we can look at the stuff that's out there and we could say, well, maybe they won't actually assassinate Donald Trump before that, but that would make the most sense. I mean, they've already attempted to take his life supposedly twice, right? So why would anybody out there think that he's in the clear? I mean, people will be, if you're talking about how to bring about order out of chaos, the most chaos you could possibly imagine would be something happening to Donald Trump between now, when the majority of people supposedly voted for him, and the majority of people, everybody feels this sigh in the air. Everybody, you could feel it. You could hear people like, oh, what a relief. They didn't rig the election. That's what they're all saying, because everybody out there knows or knew that there's no way that if the election was real, that anybody would actually vote for Kamala Harris. It's like nobody would have.
Yeah, they made it completely tacky on her side, but she wasn't going to get in. But again, they ain't done yet. The psyop ain't over, man.
Voted for Joe Biden. So everybody out there who believes in the Constitution, they're of course naturally, because they're being deceived, actually believe and like Donald Trump. So they're all feeling a sigh of relief because they're saying, wow, the mainstream, you can feel it. They're saying, wow, the mainstream media is actually reporting that Donald Trump won. Yeah, we haven't heard Kamala Harris, as of me recording this, concede the election yet, but you feel the sigh of relief everyone has, because they all thought that there was going to be major manipulation, that they were going to tell everybody out there that Kamala Harris won in a landslide, something that they would deny the outcome of. And of course, we're seeing Democrats deny the outcome of this already, talking about Russia collusion. This is all stuff that's been ingrained in their heads. Bomb threats were supposedly called, and all these psyops that the government themselves put out there. So it's very important to note, because the majority of people think that after the election, that person's automatically the president of the United States of America. There could be disputes. Don't forget of all this stuff that they've done already with trying to prosecute Donald Trump and throw him in jail. You're going to hear the stories. This is not over. This is not just going to be 2 months of waiting for Donald Trump to go into power. We know that order out of chaos is needed. And there is going to be chaos in the next couple of months. You could guarantee it. It's just a matter of how do they do it. So I'd be very surprised in the next 2 months if we hear nothing, if it's just silence waiting for him to take office in January. I think before December 17th, we're going to hear something go on before the electors meet. The electors have to meet in all 50 states and the District of Columbia and cast their ballots, one vote each for president and vice president, and then transmit these votes to national activists and the president of the Senate in D.C. And oh, by the way, who is the president of the Senate in D.C.? That would be Kamala Harris, the president of the Senate. So there's a lot of twists and turns that can be taken. I think when you watched how people are responding to this is exactly what they want. They want people celebrating. They want people feeling like Donald Trump is going to save the day. And nobody out there is actually thinking that something could actually occur between now and Inauguration Day. But too many seeds have been planted for something big to go on. I'm not buying it one bit. Now, the other thing that's out there that we've heard whispers about, and everybody has mentioned it a few times over the last 4 years, especially with the outbreak that occurred, is the president invoking emergency powers. And if you didn't hear, the U.S. military is testing nuclear missiles. This is just a quote. Your take on nuclear missiles or not is one thing, but this is something that's out there. The U.S. was testing nuclear missiles hours after the polls closed. So they're putting seeds out there in people's minds that we could suddenly get sucked into World War III and the president, Biden, could declare emergency powers. There could be another outbreak. There could be many things that happen. They're not done playing with people by any stretch of the imagination. This right here feels like the calm before the storm, because everybody out there feels this sense of relief because there isn't a dispute going on yet. There isn't any.
And they literally haven't stopped. Okay, I mean, from 2020 on, but even before that, it was always something. There has been something every day, every week, every month, every year. There's been something. So you think all of a sudden now they just got this guy in there and that's it? Nah. Okay, again, let's get Isaiah the 19th chapter. Okay, so we don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But we know you people are through. Isaiah 19:19. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptians. All right, civil unrest. And every man will fight against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. So what comes next can really fully lead to it. Okay, we have the division, we have the stage is set, but they ain't done yet. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over to a cruel lord, and a fierce king will rule over them. All right, and this is what the Lord says. All right, so who knows how it's going to play out? We just know that we're in some very interesting times.
Type of controversy. It was just pretty much a landslide for Donald Trump. So people out there trusting in the system again, saying, look, they couldn't rig it. It was too big to rig. But the narratives with the assassination, the electoral vote on December the 17th. And remember, if they wanted Donald Trump dead, he'd be dead. But why would they kill him before the election? What would cause more chaos? Killing him before the actual election, or killing him after the citizens in the country supposedly vote him in to be the president, before he could take office again, before he's officially put in on December 17th? Something happens to him. And the Constitution itself doesn't state what the resolution would be. That's why I read that to you. What were some of the quotes in that? What happens if a candidate dies or becomes incapacitated? For anybody out there that wants to find this actual article, it's archives.gov/electoralcollege/FAQ. And what does it say? It says we don't know what would happen if a candidate who dies after or becomes incapacitated between the meeting of electors and the counting of electoral votes in Congress. Donald Trump, because the support was already insane of how badly people were clinging to Donald Trump because of how deliberately bad our government has made our way of life in America over the last 4 years. That the fake.
All right, so you can watch that video. You know, this page constantly gets deleted. You can see why, but you know that's pretty much it, man. It's a few other videos I wanted, but I'm gonna leave it alone. We'll come back to more. Let's see. This was a good one as well, you know, showing the stupidity of these people. All right, but Lord willing, we'll be back with more, man. Shalom.